pain, fatigue, IBS, restless leg syndrome, anxiety, depression, poor sleep. All these are symptoms of fibromyalgia, but fibromyalgia is just a name. It's a name given to describe the common symptoms that people have that we call fibromyalgia. But fibromyalgia doesn't cause these symptoms. And that's what's so frustrating, is because patients will go to their doctors and they'll complain about different conditions that they have, symptoms that they have, and more than likely their doctor is just going to tell them, oh, that's due to your fibromyalgia. And then they're going to recommend another drug to treat the symptom that you're complaining of. But what we need to realize is that fibromyalgia doesn't cause anything. It's just a name given to a syndrome. What is a syndrome? A syndrome is a description of common symptoms that people have that they share, and then we'll call it fibromyalgia. And obviously, diffuse, achy, sometimes disabling pain, poor sleep, low energy, poor moods, poor mental clarity, IBS, restless leg syndrome, and the list can be very, very long underneath this heading of fibromyalgia. But please, please know that fibromyalgia doesn't cause your low energy. Fibromyalgia doesn't cause your pain. Fibromyalgia doesn't cause poor sleep. Fibromyalgia doesn't cause brain fog. Fibromyalgia doesn't cause restless leg syndrome. And if you have a doctor, or doctors plural, that are telling you that these symptoms are due to fibromyalgia, this doctor is taking the easy road out. What you need to realize is that every symptom that you have is a warning sign that something's going wrong in the body. In the case of low energy, what you may have is something wrong with your thyroid or your adrenal glands, or obviously if you're not getting deep restorative sleep, which very few people with fibromyalgia do, or you get run down very easily because you've bankrupted your stress coping chemicals, you can't handle stress very well, then yeah, those things are going to make you very, very tired. But what I find in my practice is that the large majority of my patients have something wrong with their thyroid gland. But it doesn't have to be their thyroid. It could be adrenal fatigue. It could be poor sleep. Many different things can create fatigue. But just saying that your low energy is due to fibromyalgia doesn't do anybody any good. Treating the symptom of low energy with Adderall or Provigil, other stimulant medication, that only creates more problems because these medications have potential side effects. Really what you want to know is, why do you have these symptoms? So if it's not fibromyalgia, which again is just a name, what is it? Well, I'm here to share with you some of the things that can cause your symptoms. And let's start with low energy. So low energy, do you have some of these symptoms, by the way? Let me just read these off to you. Do you have low energy? Have you had trouble gaining weight or trouble losing weight? Do you have IBS? Do you have restless leg syndrome? Do you have problems with anxiety or low moods? Do you get headaches? Do you get migraine headaches? Do you have problems with PMS? Or when you were younger, did you have problems with PMS? Did you have infertility issues? Did you get cold hands, cold feet? Do you get tingling in your hands and feet? Do you have problems with you've lost the lateral third of your eyebrows, or your hair is thinning out? Do you have dry skin? Are you constipated? Do you have problems with brain fog? If you answered yes to some of these, then these are clues that you might have a problem with your thyroid. Now, most of you will say, well, my doctor's checked my thyroid and they always tell me it's normal. Well, they're checking your thyroid, but not thoroughly. They're doing just the basic testing, and from that testing, they're telling you, yes, your TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone, is normal, but that's just a very basic test. What I want to encourage you to start to think about is, you really have to be a detective to try to figure out what are the causes of your symptoms. And looking at low energy, one of those could be thyroid. And what I want to encourage you to do is make sure your doctor is running these tests. You might want to write these down, very, very important. When I start working with my patients, my goal is to act like Sherlock Holmes and be a detective and figure out what are the causes, because it's going to be more than one thing, that are causing their low energy. What are the causes of their pain? What are the causes of poor sleep? What are the causes of IBS? And once I can find the causes, now I have an opportunity to start to treat those things, and oftentimes to fix the underlying causes. But what you want to make sure is that you're getting the proper workup and your doctor probably needs some help because they're used to treating all kinds of patients. They're not used to treating just fibro patients. You're very unique. I mean, there's no one like a fibromyalgia patient. You're very, very special, to say the least. So here are the tests you need to be asking your doctor to run just for your thyroid. You need to be getting a TSH, which they'll do, a free T4. Sometimes they'll do that. You need to get a total T4 and a free T4. You need to get a total T3 and a free T3. You need to get a T3 uptake. You need to get a reverse T3, and you need to get your thyroid antibodies checked. Now, most of you are getting your TSH checked, your thyroid stimulating hormone, and that comes back and they tell you, oh, it's normal. You've got all the symptoms that I just mentioned: low energy, brain fog, constipated, dry skin, maybe you lost some of your hair that's thinning out, maybe you lost the lateral third of your eyebrows, no energy, anxiety, depression, high cholesterol, all these tingling in your hands and feet, pain in your extremities, in your hands and your feet. All these are signs of low thyroid. They can create all these different symptoms. And if they're just checking your TSH and maybe your T4, they're missing the opportunity to help you define one of the causes of many of your symptoms of fibromyalgia. So you want to make sure you get a very thorough workup of your thyroid gland. I can't tell you, over the last 20 years of specializing in fibromyalgia, how many patients that I have gone and done the testing on them and found that their doctor had missed the fact that they had the beginning of Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease where the body erroneously attacks the thyroid tissue. And doctors were not checking for it. But once I found it, now I had an opportunity to start working with this patient and to help them to be able to have energy, to be able to think clearly, to be able to lose weight if they needed to be able to oftentimes get rid of migraine headaches, and the list goes on and on. The goal should be to find and fix the underlying causes, not to treat the symptoms. And the conventional medical world is about treating symptoms. So again, if you got low energy, they're going to put you on Ritalin or Adderall. It's about finding and fixing the causes, not treating the symptoms. Some of you, your low energy is due to adrenal fatigue. Your adrenal glands are two pea-sized glands. Are very, very small, but they're super important. And they sit on top of your kidneys and they release certain hormones, cortisol, DHEA, norepinephrine, that allow you to have energy. When they get under too much stress, then they can become very lethargic, and now you find that your get up and go is got up and went. And that's the case with just about every fibromyalgia patient that I work with. Over the years, I've gotten under all this stress to the point that stress becomes so magnified because little things that they used to be able to do work. I mean, or now many of my patients are on disability. They've not been able to work, but they used to be able to cook a meal. They can't cook a meal. They can't clean the house. Can't balance a checkbook. I mean, some of them have gotten to the point stress is so magnified, whether it's changes in weather, the thought of even getting in the car and driving to Walmart there's just no way. Just the thought of that could put you in a flare for 2 or 3 days. Some of my patients have to choose: are they going to take a bath today? Maybe they do it once a week. Maybe they bathe once a week because they become, they become hermits in their house. They hibernate because they just have nothing left to give. They have no energy. And oftentimes that's due to low adrenal function. Now, doctors in the conventional world are going to tell you that doesn't even exist because it's, for them it's black or white. But I'm here to tell you, doing this for 20 years, adrenal fatigue is very much real. And I see it in 95% of the patients I work with. If you have adrenal fatigue, you're going to find that your energy is low. Again, this is not caused by fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a name. The low energy can be caused by adrenal fatigue. Now, if you're not sleeping through the night, and everyone with fibromyalgia is not, unless you're taking prescription medications or you're following by natural protocols and you're able to sleep through the night. But most people who, in the conventional world, if they're taking prescription medications, most of the time those medications don't put you into deep delta wave sleep. So you might sleep, but in the morning when you wake up, you never feel refreshed. And for many people, they're even taking prescription medications, they have struggled to fall asleep and to sleep through the night. Many times they catch their second wind at bedtime instead of, they're tired all day, and then at bedtime they get this second wind, and all of a sudden they're just, they want to do this, they want to do that because it's the first time they've had any energy, and before you know it, they don't wind down until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The problem with that is, if you're going to bed after midnight, that throws off your circadian sleep-wake cycle, so that the next night it's harder to get in bed and wind down and be able to get to sleep like you should. And this goes on, and so you've got this sleep deficit that occurs over the years, and there's no wonder you're exhausted. So low energy certainly could be from poor sleep. Low energy can also be from the many medications that are comically not really funny, but commonly used to treat fibromyalgia. So Lyrica, gabapentin, pregabalin, Neurontin, Grillis, anti-anxiety medications, Klonopin, Xanax, Ativan, sleep medications, Ambien, Lunesta, antidepressants, pain medications. All these medications have potential side effects, including fatigue, brain fog, lethargy, and ironically, for antidepressants included, they can cause you to be anxious or depressed. The prescription medications come with a price, and the price is that there's a potential side effect or effects with that drug. So some of you are walking around and your low energy is due because of the medications that you're taking. Some of you are having low energy because you're not absorbing your food when you eat it. So you have a lot of GI problems. Maybe you have leaky gut or malabsorption, or you have reflux that's so bad that you're taking a proton pump inhibitor or antacid medications that are blocking your stomach acid from allowing you to absorb the nutrients in your food. Or, in some cases, even to absorb the nutrients in the supplements you may be taking. And because of that, you're not getting the nutrients that you need, so your body's running on empty all the time. For other folks, you've been so sedentary for so long because you really can't do a whole lot. You don't have any energy, and if you don't use it, you lose it, right? That's the saying. So for many people with fibro, and oftentimes, people have had this for years because they can't find a doctor to help them, and so they've had it for years, and they find really even being able to get off the couch and doing much around the house is a real feat for many people. Oftentimes, it's sad but true. And if you are in that state, if you're very, very sedentary, what you find is you become deconditioned, so you get really out of shape, and this sets up this downward trajectory to where you find that your energy just gets lower and lower and lower and lower. So there's many causes to low energy. And we can do the same thing with pain. We can take pain and we can say fibromyalgia doesn't cause pain. What we know is that when you get run down, stressed out, your body's not working correctly, your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenals, the HPA axis, things that I talk about in my book, when that's not working correctly, you see that you get a thing called allodynia, big medical term that means pain is magnified. And what happens with fibro, as you start to deplete certain hormones and chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, DHEA, and then vitamins and minerals, magnesium, B5, these things that you need, you deplete these, poor nutrition, poor sleep, taking prescription medications, getting run down, staying stressed out. Over the years, eventually these chemicals that you need are not there. And so because of that, you see that pain becomes magnified. Your pain threshold is really low. And when your pain threshold's low, pain is magnified. Now, in the beginning, for most people with fibromyalgia, it starts off, it may be one place, maybe tight, achy pain in the neck. It could be anywhere, but maybe it's in the neck, and then it moves to the shoulders, and then it's now into the chest, so you get costochondritis. And pretty soon, it's everywhere, to the point that your pain threshold's so low, you can't tolerate someone to shake your hand or hug you, or tight shirt or blouse, or covers over you. You can't even tolerate that. Putting your feet on the floor in the morning is incredibly painful, just to touch the floor in the morning. That's because your pain threshold is really, really low. There's many reasons for pain, but that's one of them. Some of you are actually taking prescription medications that are actually contributing to your pain. Ironically, Lyrica, Neurontin, pregabalin, gabapentin, Grillis, One of the potential side effects of those medications is diffuse achy muscle pain and nerve pain, and yet patients are taking these medications. Patients who are taking antidepressants, Celexa, Lexapro, Prozac, Cymbalta, Brintellix, and there'll be a new one out next week. Those anti-prescription medications, one of the side effects is diffuse achy muscle pain. If you're not getting into deep restorative sleep, and again, most of you are not, you'll find that your pain threshold goes way down, and your inflammatory chemicals, your pain will go way up, sometimes by 40-50% higher than someone who's getting deep restorative sleep. There's many causes of pain, but to say that your pain is because you have fibromyalgia is useless. Again, fibromyalgia is just a name. I've spent the last 20 years helping my patients uncover the causes of their symptoms and then help them to fix the underlying causes by doing the appropriate testing or encouraging them to get the appropriate testing and to start to use the natural protocols that I have pioneered over the last 20 years. I've been fortunate to have helped thousands of patients to feel good again and get their life back. And the way that I've done that is not with drugs treating symptoms or even supplement treating symptoms. It's based on finding and then fixing the cause of the symptom. What is the cause of irritable bowel? Well, constipation for many people. Well, they'll tell you you're constipated, so take lenses. Well, the potential side effect of lenses is it can cause you to have a perforation of the colon and it literally explode, and you get septicemia, and that can kill you. And that doesn't happen very often, but if you're the 3% of the people that get a problem with that, I mean, if the odds are, you're one of the people in those terrible odds, then it's very important that you know this information. But no one has a lenses deficiency. Now, if you're constipated, that's a warning sign that your digestive and elimination system's not working correctly. Taking a drug because you're constipated only increases the risk that you're going to have more health problems because of the side effects of the medication. If your oil light comes on in your car, if you don't change the oil light, eventually you're going to have some serious problems. If you're having a warning sign, a symptom that's showing up, and you continue just to cover it up with a drug, that's going to create some problems. For constipation, typically what that's due to is that you're not digesting your food. So it could be prescription medications that you're taking. It could be that you're taking proton pump inhibitors or antacid or reflux medications that block your stomach acid, that prevent the food that hits the stomach to actually get broken down like it's supposed to, because there's no stomach acid to do that anymore. It could be all the stress has depleted your serotonin. Serotonin is a brain chemical. The higher serotonin level, the higher your pain threshold. The higher your serotonin level, the happier you are, the less anxious you are. Serotonin also helps regulate your bowel movements. And when you get low in serotonin, what you find is you can't regulate the motility of your food moving through your digestive and elimination system. And you need to, and you may have heard this if you've heard me speak before, but you have more serotonin receptors in your intestinal tract than you do in your brain. So when you get under stress and you get low in serotonin, you get butterflies where? You get them in your stomach. And if you're low because you're stressed out, not sleeping, taking prescription medications, run down, no one understands what you're going through, you're incredibly stressed out, you're going to deplete your serotonin. That can create problems with constipation. But one of the main reasons I see people get trouble with IBS with constipation is because they're deficient in something so simple, such a simple remedy, and they're deficient in magnesium. If you have constipation issues, I guarantee you, if you'll start taking magnesium on a daily basis, you can buy it anywhere. It's cheap, over the counter. You don't have to go to a doctor. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on co-pays and fooling with a drug that may actually cause your colon to rupture or cause bloating, gas, indigestion, all the other things that can happen with lenses. You could take magnesium citrate or chelate, start with 150 milligrams and increase each day until you start having a normal bowel movement. Now, if you take too much magnesium, you're going to get a loose bowel movement. Why are you low in magnesium? So here's a symptom. A symptom is what? A warning sign something's wrong in the body. What's the symptom in this case? Constipation. Is constipation a disease? No, it's a reaction. It's a symptom. It's a warning sign that your body's not working correctly. Either your diet is terrible, probably for many people it is. You're blocking the digestive enzymes, and so one of the things you could do is take over-the-counter digestive enzymes. You can get them in any health food store. All my patients take, not all, but most all my patients take pancreatic digestive enzymes that I've developed. But for most of you, if you'll just take magnesium and get that level up, you'll see you'll have a normal bowel movement every day, or at least every other day. But why is magnesium so low in fibromyalgia patients? Well, because magnesium is the stress mineral. It's in 300 different bodily processes. Just try to think about it. 300. It's important to making the brain chemicals. It's important for cellular energy. It's important to regulate how much calcium gets in a cell to make the contraction of the heart. It's numerous reactions, 300 different bodily processes. So millions and millions of chemical reactions depend on magnesium. And guess one of the things, the main thing that depletes magnesium is guess what? Something that you all are under every day. Stress. The more stress that you're under, the more magnesium you need to be able to correlate these and have these different functions work like they're supposed to. But if you get under too much stress, magnesium can't keep up, especially if you're eating the sad American diet. You know, the standard American diet, processed foods, a lot of meat, a lot of dairy, things that don't have the magnesium that you should be getting. Or you're taking prescription medications. There's many prescription medications actually deplete magnesium. But anytime you get under stress, you're going to need more magnesium. If you get Charlie horses or cramps or even restless leg syndrome, that is because you're not getting enough magnesium typically. Magnesium is a natural muscle relaxer. It relaxes your muscles. It relaxes the heart, so the heart needs a lot of magnesium. The heart's the biggest muscle in the body. It needs a lot of magnesium to work correctly. But you need magnesium in your leg muscles, in your arm muscles, and when you get those tight, achy fibro, achy pain, a lot of times it's because you depleted your magnesium. Constipation, eye twitches, mitral valve prolapse, high blood pressure, migraine headaches, tension headaches, depression, all these are signs of, oftentimes warning signs of a deficiency of magnesium. So what I'm really trying to get you to change your paradigm. Don't buy into this whole thing that, yeah, I've got fibromyalgia and I have to learn to live with it, and fibromyalgia is causing all my symptoms. Don't buy that crap. No pun intended. Don't buy that. That's not the truth. The truth is you've got all these symptoms, yeah, that other people have as well. You have this in common. So rather than, we have to call it something, we're calling it fibromyalgia. So they're common denominators for sure, no doubt. Fibromyalgia is real. It's a real syndrome. But the way that you start to improve these symptoms is by treating the causes of the symptoms, not treating the symptoms with drugs to cover them up or even supplements. You want to treat the causes. I want to encourage you to learn more about that. If you don't have my book, I would encourage you to get the book. I'll post it on here tonight. You can get my book, Treating and Beating Fibromyalgia and Chronic Fatigue Syndrome, on Amazon.com. I encourage you to learn more about that. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're sick and tired of going to doctors who are telling you that you just have to learn to live with it, who wants to live with this stuff? I mean, who can live with this stuff? That's not living, it's existing. It's trying to make it through the day after day. Family members don't understand. Co-workers, if you're still working, certainly don't understand. Friends, many times you've lost all your friends because they can't depend on you to do anything because you don't know if this is going to be a good day or a bad day. That's not living, that's misery. Get out of that position. Get out of misery. Do something proactive. Yes, I know you've tried this doctor and that doctor, and you've tried this drug and that supplement and this diet and gluten-free and all these things you've tried. All I can share with you is I've got a 20-year track record of working with patients to help them find and fix the underlying causes of their symptoms. If you go to my website, yourfibrodoctor.com, you'll see at least 80 testimonials of their patients just like you who were frustrated, fed up with doctors who didn't understand what they were going through, that all they want to do is give them drugs, more drugs, and more drugs, and more drugs, until they felt like they were a pill machine and were able to, basically were a zombie day in and day out. That's not living. If you're ready to do something different and get your life back, the first step would be to set up a consult with me. I work with patients all over the world, so you can set up a phone consult. Doesn't matter if you're in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada. I have patients all over the world, and I do it by phone or by Skype. And you can learn more about that at fibroconsults.com. I'm going to finish up this video here in just a moment, and when I post it, you'll be able to see the link how to get to there, fibroconsults.com. I hope I get the opportunity to meet you either in person at my clinic in Birmingham, Alabama, or by phone to help you figure out what in the heck is going on. What do you need to do to start correcting these underlying causes and actually feel good again? Have a life, be able to play with your kids, your grandkids, be able to travel, be able to cook, be able to garden, whatever it is you want to do. I'd love to help you reach those health goals. So reach out to me, fibroconsults.com. I do this talk every Wednesday night. Some nights I take questions, some nights I rant and rave that I did tonight. I hope you got something out of this tonight. So there's some real clinical pearls in there that you can use to help you in your quest to feel good again. Whether the things that I talked about, the labs that I talked about you getting for your thyroid, or what I talked to you about using digestive enzymes and magnesium to treat constipation. So there's a lot of information in this 30-minute talk. Go back and re-listen to it. It'll be posted here, and you can listen to it on my page. Thanks for joining me. This is Dr. Rodger Murphree, yourfibrodoctor.com. That's my website. Author of the book, Treating and Beating Fibromyalgia and Chronic Fatigue Syndrome. Hope I get the opportunity to meet you in a new patient phone consult, and you can learn more about that and actually fill the paperwork out online at fibroconsults.com.